Nursing home worker feeds grandma daily. Daughter checks cameras and finds this. Within the serene walls of a nursing home, Emily, a devoted caregiver, nurtured a unique bond with Grandma Thompson, unaware that their daily rituals concealed a chilling secret that would unravel the tranquility of the facility. Emily's days were filled with the routine care and tender moments, but beneath the surface of these interactions lay a truth that once revealed would change everything. Emily, with a heart full of empathy, found fulfillment in her role as a nursing home worker, especially in the tender moments shared with Grandma Thompson, whom she treated like her own family. The smiles, the conversations, and the care she provided went beyond her job description. Emily saw Grandma Thompson not just as a resident but as a part of her life, creating a bond that was visibly unique to onlookers. Rachel, Grandma Thompson's vigilant daughter, became increasingly suspicious as she noticed Emily persistently feeding her mother daily, prompting her intuition to sound alarm bells. Driven by her gut feeling, Rachel resolved to uncover the truth and decided to scrutinize the facility's security footage. Her mother's well-being was her priority, and she would stop at nothing to ensure her safety. The serene atmosphere of the nursing home contrasted with Rachel's growing unease as she grappled with conflicting emotions about entrusting her mother's care to strangers. Meanwhile, Emily's genuine affection for Grandma Thompson deepened, unaware of the storm brewing on the horizon. This juxtaposition of peace and turmoil set the stage for the impending conflict. Rachel's investigation intensified as she meticulously reviewed the camera footage, her heart sinking as she discovered disturbing evidence of what was going on behind closed doors. Her breath hitched as a shadow of doubt cast over Emily's seemingly compassionate facade. What appeared to be gentle care was something that left Rachel shaking. She couldn't call management fast enough. But when Rachel Thompson checked her mom into the nursing home, she only wanted the best for her. She never imagined that a day would come when she would have to make such a heart-wrenching decision. Her mom had once been a pillar of strength and independence, and it's not like she ever stopped, but the inevitable march of time had gotten to her, dimming her once vibrant spirit. With Rachel's own life consumed by the demands of a burgeoning career and the ceaseless energy of her young family, she found herself at a crossroads. The care her mother needed was more than she could provide, a truth that settled heavily on her heart. After much deliberation, Rachel resolved to find a place where her mother could receive the attention and care she so deeply deserved. Rachel embarked on her search with a mixture of determination and apprehension. She visited numerous nursing homes, each time hoping to find a place that felt right. The task was daunting. She sought not just any home, but a sanctuary that would offer her mother comfort, dignity, and happiness. If only she knew where fate was leading her. Finally, she came across a facility that stood out from the rest. It was renowned for its excellent care, for its staff's compassion, and its serene environment. Although the cost was higher than she'd hoped, Rachel knew that no price was too great for her mother's well-being. She gathered the necessary funds, making sacrifices without hesitation, and completed the registration process. The day Rachel took her mother to the nursing home was filled with mixed emotions. There was guilt, for part of her felt like she was abandoning her mother. There was relief, knowing her mom would be in good hands. And there was hope for a new chapter filled with joy and peace for her beloved parent. As they arrived, Rachel was immediately struck by the warmth and friendliness of the staff. They welcomed her with open arms and warm smiles, assuring her she was doing the right thing. Their words worked to alleviate some of the guilt that had taken her hostage. She was thankful. It was here she met Emily, a nurse whose presence was as comforting as a gentle breeze on a summer's day. Emily approached Rachel and her mother with a smile that seemed to light up the room. She spoke with a kindness that was genuine and a patience that was endless. Rachel watched as Emily engaged her mother in conversation, treating her with a respect and attentiveness that was deeply moving. It was clear that Emily was not just doing a job, she was fulfilling a calling. Rachel felt a wave of gratitude wash over her, convinced that her mother was in the best of hands. In the weeks that followed, Rachel visited her mother regularly, each time finding her more content and settled. Emily's special attention to her mother did not go unnoticed. She had a way of making each resident feel valued and loved, but with Rachel's mother there seemed to be an even deeper connection. They shared laughs, stories, and moments that Rachel hadn't seen her mother enjoy in years. It was heartwarming to witness, yet a small part of Rachel couldn't help but wonder about the nature of this bond. As perfect as everything seemed, Rachel began to notice something peculiar about Emily's interactions with her mother. There was an intensity, a level of focus and drive that seemed disproportionate even for someone as dedicated as Emily. Slowly but surely, the daughter's curiosity grew, and with it, a worry she'd never known she could embody. Rachel observed how Emily would often feed her mother personally, insisting on it even when other staff were available. This special treatment, while initially comforting, began to stir unease within Rachel. She appreciated the care her mother was receiving, yet she couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more, something unspoken beneath the surface. Rachel's intuition, honed by years of navigating the complexities of human relationships both in her personal life and her career, refused to be ignored. The nagging sense of unease grew into suspicion, compelling her to seek answers. She started by casually inquiring about Emily's history with the nursing home and her approach to care. The responses were always positive yet vague, doing little to alleviate her concerns. It was then that Rachel decided to take a more direct approach. Determined to understand the true nature of Emily's interest in her mother, Rachel requested access to the security camera footage. She framed her request as part of a broader concern for her mother's well-being, careful not to cast undue suspicion on Emily without cause. The management, understanding her concerns as a loving daughter, granted her permission. Rachel approached this task with a heavy heart, hoping her suspicions were unfounded. Rachel hated that circumstances had moved her to such an extent. She'd actually liked and appreciated all that Emily was doing, and under different circumstances, couldn't have asked for a better caregiver than her. But she couldn't ignore the fact that something odd was going on here. Of course, she tried asking her mom about it, but the older woman's answer had only made things worse. Julie Anderson Thompson, alias Grandma Thompson, Rachel's mom, didn't answer, only stared blankly for minutes on end. Finally, she sat upright and said, "Don't worry about it, honey. I'm fine. Don't I look fine?" But there was a darkness in her eyes that had never been there before. It left Rachel shaking in places she'd never known her mother to keep secrets. The whole experience made her worry double, pushing her to check the cameras. Rachel leaned over the computer's bright screen, scrolling through the hours of footage. A security guard sat close, advising on how to operate the system. Rachel's heart thundered as the lengthy footage played. She didn't want to be here snooping on her mom and her caretaker as she was, but all this was necessary. It took Rachel a solid 20 minutes before she found footage of her mom and Emily in the same room. The time on the footage read 12 a.m., which was odd because Emily wasn't supposed to be on shift then. She came in with a tray full of food, from a bowl of soup to a dish of what looked like braised beef. There were also other dishes, one full of flour tortillas and some other sort of salsa. What was going on? Rachel knew that Emily was giving her mom some sort of special treatment. That part was no secret. What she needed to know was why the woman was bringing in food at midnight. Rachel watched with bated breath. She saw Emily serve the food and hand it over to Grandma Thompson, and that's when everything took a dark turn. Grandma Thompson stared at the food and pushed it away. She lay back down on her bed facing the other side. But Emily started talking, her face darkened with anger. She started pacing around, pointing at Grandma Thompson and throwing her hands about. It was clear she was upset. Rachel's heart sank as she discovered the disturbing evidence of mistreatment behind closed doors. This was her confirmation that something was wrong. Rachel couldn't believe what she was witnessing on the screen before her eyes. Her initial shock turned into a burning anger as she watched Emily's outburst toward her vulnerable mother. Tension gripped the room as Rachel grappled with the implications of what she'd uncovered. This was not the care she had entrusted her mother to receive. This was a betrayal of the highest order, and Rachel vowed to confront Emily and demand answers. With a steely resolve, Rachel stormed down the corridors of the nursing home, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and determination. She found Emily attending to another resident, her facade of kindness slipping as Rachel's accusing gaze bore into her. Emily's eyes widened in alarm as Rachel approached, knowing that her carefully constructed world was about to come crashing down. Emily's protests of innocence fell on deaf ears as Rachel confronted her with all the damning evidence captured on camera. The once trusted caregiver stumbled over her words, desperately trying to explain away her actions. Rachel saw through the lies. Her mother's well-being was not something to be taken lightly, and Emily's deception had shattered the fragile trust between them. As the reality of her betrayal sank in, Emily's world crumbled around her. She sat on the floor with her head in her hands. "I know it looks bad," she began, "but you have to believe me, Rachel. I'd never do anything to hurt your mom." She explained that over the last few weeks, Grandma Thompson had revealed to her that she didn't like the home's food. Emily had taken it upon herself to cook for her at home and bring the food over, but there was a caveat. Emily's deal only stood if Grandma Thompson agreed to be more honest about Emily's cooking. If she didn't like it, there was no need to pretend that she did. Luckily, Grandma Thompson loved Emily's cooking, so much so that she'd turn her eating time into some sort of therapy session for Emily, where she'd listen to the woman's problems and give advice. This exchange deepened the bond between the two women, with Emily making significant steps in her personal life because of the advice Grandma Thompson gave. So why was she screaming at her that night? Embarrassed, Emily explained that she'd been fuming when she came into the nursing home because of an incident at home. One of her teenage sons had been sneaking from school despite numerous warnings, and the issue had gotten her riled up. Her passions had taken over while she was venting to Grandma Thompson, who was lying for a bit before she started eating. As proof, Emily asked Rachel to watch the full footage, which Rachel did. Rachel saw that Emily was actually telling the truth. Standing as more proof was the fact that Grandma Thompson had worked as a therapist back in the day and usually gave the best life advice. As the dust settled, Rachel's distrust faded away. She apologized for her words, promising to give Emily a chance and asking for one herself. She and Emily forged a new understanding rooted in mutual respect and empathy. Their shared commitment to Grandma Thompson's well-being served as a foundation for reconciliation, paving the way for a brighter future filled with hope and forgiveness. Though the scars of betrayal would always linger, they were now bound together by a bond stronger than before. Stories of grit and determination like this warm your heart. We encourage you to subscribe to our channel for many more like it.